Here I have a fairly interesting lens. It's a Zoom Nikkor 70-210, 4.5-5.6. This was released by Nikon in 1995, and it's a fully manual push-pull lens, which is really interesting. I don't know why they chose to release this when the D lenses were already out with autofocus. Maybe it was less expensive, maybe it was for older film bodies or something like that. I'm not sure. It has an AI or an AIS mount on it. I'm not completely sure on that, and I went searching to find out what the difference was, and I did not have any luck. It was just threads with people flaming each other back and forth because they said something different about the naming scheme. The information that I was able to find on the lens is that there are 11 elements in 8 groups, 8 aperture blades, which is pretty nice, and it weighs 13.7 ounces or 389 grams. And in terms of construction, I'm not blown away. It's mainly plastic. The mount on the back is thankfully metal. I always avoid anything with a plastic mount because those will break really easily, and then you're down a lens. The lens has a minimum focus distance of 1.5 meters, about 5 feet, and I found that to be annoying at 70 millimeters. I wasn't able to frame the shots I wanted to, and it just kind of annoyed me and really put me off to the lens. And the other thing was the push-pull for zoom. I felt that it was kind of heavy, and I can understand that because you want it to not move when you're focusing back and forth. But I found it all kind of tight, which I guess is actually better because one of the main problems with the push-pull lenses is that it'll lose tension, and so this lens is able to stand, but lots of them, if you zoom them out all the way, they'll slowly slide down, and that is going to make it really difficult to focus because as you're trying to focus back and forth, it's going to easily move around. I really did not like the whole push-pull zoom focus mechanism at all. I found that I wasn't able to get things to focus very well, most likely because I have basically no practice with a push-pull zoom lens. And after using this, I really don't want to get more practice in. With the lens mounted on the camera, I didn't have any issues with the weighting or balance of it, even zoomed all the way out. Felt fine, not like it was throwing it off. Some larger primes, those can get really heavy where you need extra support, but with this lens, didn't need any of that. Here's a few sample images. With all of them, I had the center of the frame as the focal point just to keep it easy and consistent. And I also wasn't able to know what I was zoomed at because there's no chip on the lens. But zooming in, it's not sharp, and that's going to be a continuing theme. And I was racking in and out of the zoom range just to get an idea, focusing near, focusing far, to see how I liked the lens. It really bothered me. Again, just not sharp, and I was shooting in the middle of the day so I could keep my shutter speeds high enough to where I wouldn't have to crank up the ISO. And here this is interesting because I really feel like it starts to get some swirly bokeh going on, but going in 1:1 on the flowers. I'm not sure how YouTube is going to handle the encoding of the video, but it's not sharp. And the swirly bokeh is kind of interesting. Again, on the flowers, going in, and it's just nothing seems sharp. I'm not sure if it was me or the lens. Trying to zoom anyways. I think it was probably the lens. Just nothing sharp. And going in again, it just seems slightly soft, and the bokeh in the foreground. The tree, just trying to go in and see any sort of sharp detail, and everything seems kind of out of it. I didn't do any editing on any of these images. To test out how sharp or not sharp the lens was, I decided to shoot a lens chart. This I know is at 70 millimeters, And when we come in 1:1, everything does look a bit soft. I had it on a tripod and everything. I was shooting handheld before. Kind of soft and kind of some purple fringing going on. And if we go over to, this is zoomed in at 210 millimeters, and when we go 1:1, you can definitely see all the chromatic aberration going on. So that is not ideal, and it's a little soft in my opinion. After taking a look at the sample image, I think it's a good idea to get a reference for how much the lens costs and how easy it is to find and things like that. So I went onto eBay, and the only lens that I saw that had sold recently sold for $55 with shipping included, and there was one up for sale for $109 plus like $9 shipping or something like that. Both those prices seem a little too high, but I'll put a link below in the description to eBay and maybe Amazon if there's a listing for it on there. There'll be affiliate links. I'll get a little money if you make a purchase through those. But I can't recommend trying to track this lens down online. I did not like it very much. I think that you can pick up an 80-200 millimeter D series for like $20 or $30. You need to be aware that that does have a plastic mount, so you'll be really concerned about it breaking, but it's really cheap. There's also the 70-210 D series that's like $5 to $10 more than this one, and you get the autofocus. Now I can understand wanting to avoid D series lenses if you're using a film body and you don't have a screw drive on it, so you need to do manual focus, in which case I do not like focusing with D series lenses. It's, I don't know, kind of gross feeling in my opinion. I guess the other reason is if you wanted swirly bokeh for whatever reason, then I mean this has it, but there are other lenses out there that have it that might be more inclined to want to use and keep long term. The one thing that I would say is that if you can find the lens for probably under $30, probably closer to $20 or under, you could pick it up, use it a little bit, have that experience, and then be able to sell it on eBay and get your money back, so you aren't stuck with money in a lens that I know I didn't want to use. I'm sure there are people out there that love this lens and it's magical for them. Wasn't for me. If you really love the lens, you can leave a comment down below and tell me how wrong I am, or if there was something special that I missed with it. But that's going to wrap up my review of the lens. I hope you found this at least somewhat helpful. There will be more interesting lens reviews in the future and videos on other things. So if you'd like to see those, hit subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.